The Enhanced Games are now a new Olympic-style sporting event with a difference. As the title might give away, athletes will be permitted, even encouraged, to use performance-enhancing drugs. It's being held in Las Vegas, unsurprisingly, next May. Kiwi athletes are among the hundreds of applicants for the event. Paul O'Neill is General Counsel for Sport Integrity Commission and is at the desk this morning. Good morning, Paul.
Morena, Ryan.
I'm imagining you don't like this.
Yes, that's a fair assessment of our view, yes.
What's wrong with, because these are individuals free to do what they want, who are we to say no or to have a problem with it? What's the actual issue? Yeah,
it's very true. There are individuals with their own free choice, but I suppose it's how informed is that choice. So when you're exposing yourself to performance-enhancing drugs, you're either taking drugs that potentially have been proven to have really harmful effects on you, or they haven't even been tested for human consumption. So you're exposing yourself to huge physical harm, potentially, huge psychological and mental well-being harm as well, going through all of that. If you're an athlete who's competing in this event, which at the moment is a one-off, you're risking your career and your reputation, so huge amount of harm that could befall that athlete. But also, perhaps more fundamentally, we're really concerned about the message this sends to young athletes. Do they have to dope to succeed? Do they have to essentially expose themselves to the physical and mental harm I've just spoken about in order to do well? And that message and that example that's being set for young athletes is massively concerning.
Okay, I get that bit, but if you're not a top athlete or you're on the way out, you know, like you've had your big shiny career and things are sort of fading, and this is something that might give you a payday.
Yeah, look, again...
You'd be tempted, I suppose, wouldn't you?
You could be tempted, and look, lots of things can be superficially tempting, but does the athlete realise that they're risking not just their career, but their reputation and their mental and physical well-being? That's a big thing to risk. And the things that are being promised, the untold riches that are being promised by the Enhanced Games, you know, you can take a cynical view of that as well.
What about the actual, you know, in terms of running, the speed or the height that they can jump? Do we know the difference between what the best non-enhanced human can do versus what they might be able to do enhanced?
Look, no, we don't, but we don't think that's an experiment we want to run. And you often hear about, oh, we want a level playing field, everyone's on drugs. It won't be a level playing field. Everyone won't be on the same drugs. No one will know what the other person is on. They'll just know that there's a bit of a sort of an arms race when it comes to taking drugs that's going on that won't be transparent and can produce all sorts of unintended effects.
And now there's a lawsuit. I'm just hearing a lawsuit that's taking place over all of this.
Yeah, unsurprising. There's a whole lot of money that's been invested in this and making it succeed and get off the ground. So lawsuits often follow massive investments. Look, I probably won't be a ratings winner to go into the vagaries of US antitrust law, but suffice to say, there's probably an argument to be had there. Probably the better way to look at it, though, is if you're a country or an anti-doping organisation, you've got to think, what obligations do I have to make sure my athletes are aware of these harms? A bit like concussion. Are the people who are going into these games, are they going with their eyes wide open? So yeah, you could say, oh, you should just keep quiet and let it play out. But equally, if you think athletes are going to be exposed to harm, if you think it's going to be setting a terrible example, it's arguably incumbent on you to speak out and say, we think this harm is real, we have genuine, honestly held concerns about this, and this is what they are, validly and honestly held.
Yeah, okay. So they're performance enhancing, are they mind altering? Like, are these athletes going to be like high?
The thing is, we don't know. And when you're offering one-off payments of, say, $1 million to break a world record, people incentivised by that may take all sorts of things. And we simply don't know what the harms could result from that. Could it harm their fellow competitors? We don't know. But as I say, it's not an experiment we think it's sensible to run.
All right.